Hello, my name is Joseph Gordon. I live in Oklahoma and I am 18 years old. I went to Moore Norman Technology Center and now I work at home for Dell as a VxRail technical support engineer. I first started exploring computers probably around, I would say, the ages of 8 to 10. My dad had worked in IT for a while at that point, and it always seemed interesting to me. We only had the one computer in the house though, so it was kind of hard to really get into it. The hobby really started whenever they started introducing IT-based classes in school. They did a programming class in middle school, just HTML, CSS, things like that. I didn't really find programming aspect that interesting, but I did like learning the different things about computers themselves during that class. I definitely found that very interesting, and from there we got a second computer. I was able to use it more, and it kind of snowballed from there. I pretty much decided I wanted to go to Moore Norman as soon as I found out what it was. We did a field trip around the 8th grade, and it just seemed really interesting. Initially, I was interested in database administration, but after some consideration, I decided to go with virtual cloud and network administration just because database administration seemed kind of mundane, just handling data, and I've heard not the greatest things about that as a field. And virtualization networking just seemed more interesting to me personally. To put VxRail into words, I honestly didn't even really know what it was until I started the job. Even just reading the description, it was definitely a weird appliance. It is essentially all these decisions being made by switches and servers and racks, and all of these devices are all put together, and VxRail itself makes all these separate decisions. It's supposed to combine networking, storage, and compute into just one software overlay that makes it just easier for the customer to manage. If it's a big company and they have a lot of data to handle, and they have a lot of information they need to store, share, move around, a lot of users that are using a lot of these devices at once, and they want to be able to streamline management, patches, upgrades, things like that, part failures along those lines. It's definitely for everyone. I mean, you can make it as small as just a startup or as big as just a huge corporation with multiple instances of it. Sometimes we'll even know if something goes wrong before the customer even does. We can just call them right away and be like, hey, your drive has failed, and they won't even know about it yet. A lot of what I believe in now, such as going for certifications rather than college, valuing experience, kind of assigning myself projects that I can put onto a resume that really helped me get jobs. All of that I learned from CareerTech.
My name is Todd Hendrickson. I'm the Cloud and Virtual Network Administrator at Moore Norman Tech Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Joseph was the quiet one. He was very reserved and he didn't talk a lot in class. And when I got to know Joseph a little bit, he studied very hard. I guess it was in about March of last year, he presented me with a Net Plus certification, all by himself, did it by himself. And during this time, in April, we had an advisory group with Dell. We have an advisory meeting, and Dell was one of the partners. And I sent Joseph to an interview for the VxRail program that they have. Before Joseph went to the interview, I said, I was teaching adjunct A+ at night as a second job working here. And I said, I'm going to be up here on such and such night. Why don't you come up and I will go through the virtualization process that Dell is going to use in their Rail program. We went back to the cabinet, the server cabinet, and I just showed him where everything was. He spent about an hour with me back there, and then we logged into the system from my desk in the classroom as the other class was going on. And I just walked him through it once. There's something about Joseph that when he learns something, it sticks. He remembers everything. And the reason as far as the Dell interviews go, as far as I know, they had about 30 people they were interviewing. And I did send other students, but the other students weren't quite as advanced as Joseph was in networking. I attribute that to Joseph taking that on himself and really learning it. Dell's a big employer, they're a big help for us, but for that level of pay, Joseph's the only one that we have at that level out there.
Oh yeah, Todd's a great guy. He definitely cares a lot about us getting work, finding jobs. Actually, during the school year, they had this Business Professionals of America program. I don't remember what it was exactly, just an event to test and show skills and things like that. And he just one day said, well, it seems like none of you guys really want to do it, and this is about finding jobs, so don't worry about that. Focus on your certifications, focus on finding work, which was definitely refreshing. With high school and all of that, it's just, you just kind of go through the paces, do the work, and eventually they'll say, oh, you'll find what you want to do. But he was actively showing us jobs and seeing if we were interested in helping us out with the resumes and things like that. This just felt like the right path for me. Certifications, experience, job. It was definitely very tough time to get my certifications because, for one, I had online high school, so I had to do that work. I was working a job to actually afford to pay for the certification vouchers. Also had to go to Moore Norman, and I was also working an internship. My typical day with Dell is honestly pretty great compared to how it was before. I mean, I don't have to wake up as early. I wake up probably less than half an hour before work starts some days even, and just show up to work on time every time, just go through, call customers, send emails, troubleshoot some issues, get off work around 5, and working at home is definitely very nice. I'm off work and I'm just already at home, ready to go, and yeah, then the rest of the day is mine to study for additional certifications, just hang out with my family, visit my girlfriend, things like that. Compared to my last job, my salary had nearly doubled. My dad even said that when he was trying to move his way up, he had never gotten an increase that huge in terms of work and salary, commute time, all of that. They were definitely very surprised and very proud. I've actually created a website to try and help document what I'm doing, certifications, personal project, things along those lines. Joseph-t-gordon.tech. A lot of people feel a need to move out as soon as they turn 18 or as soon as they get this certain job. But I feel like if I wait a few years, which is my plan, I plan to wait 3 to 4 years and just go right out and buy a house right away. Try to invest some of my money rather than get an apartment and end up losing that and go through the same process where I am trying to pay for an apartment and struggling to save for a house when I could just live at home for free, save all that money and eventually move into the house that I want to on my terms with plenty left over. It's just about what you can do and finding the path that is most suitable for you and not following through what everyone else has done. There's definitely a lot of different paths you can take, a lot of different ways to do it. And of course, I mean, the traditional college route, going to school, learning the trade, getting a job, all of that, I feel is definitely essential in a lot of fields, but I really do think that certification and things along those lines are more suitable for IT, especially nowadays. A few years ago, I would probably say definitely college, but now it's definitely changing a lot.